The fake news just doesn't get it, do they? By the end of the week, we're going to change that clip. It'll still be Trump, but another setting where he's saying something different about the fake news. It's going to be just as good, maybe even better. All right, speaking of the fake news, who remembers Ted Koppel? Ted Koppel, he ran Nightline over there on ABC for a long time. And more recently, he joined CBS News. He does these reports for the CBS Morning Show. He's trying to copy, I believe, Charles Kuralt. Remember that guy? Anyway, he got the idea to go down to some town in North Carolina, a small little village where Andy Griffith was born, to make fun of the show and to criticize it for not having enough black people on the show. That was the whole idea of the story. Andy Griffith. He's given Andy Griffith a hard time. This is an American classic, of course, all right? And Andy Griffith actually wanted to make sure that every episode had a moral, had a lesson. And I wasn't the biggest watcher of the program. It predates me, but I've seen the reruns and good, wholesome TV. Nothing's wrong with it until the fake news shows up. So Ted Koppel takes a camera crew down to Mount Airy, North Carolina, birthplace of Andy Griffith, and it's said that Mayberry is based on Mount Airy, and confronts people about this show, like, why do you like it? It didn't have enough black people in it. It's a bad show.
The Foster family from Pomeroy, Ohio, showed up.
Watch it 4 hours, Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
It's no exaggeration to say that this recreation verges for the Fosters on being a national monument.
You watch the Andy Griffith Show 4 hours a day?
More than that.
What do you mean more than that?
It's on sometimes early in the morning.
Aren't you afraid that after a month or two of watching 4 hours or more a day, that you're going to turn his little brain to mush?
Just so insulting and condescending. Turn his brain to mush. It's obviously not 4 hours. It's a figure of speech. And what do you want him doing, Ted? Watching TikTok videos? Next.
Tell me why you like it so much.
Good, clean comedy.
Yeah,
fun.
good, clean comedy. Has morals, values. You don't see that a lot today in TV.
And you see Ted looking at him like they're foreign species, like from another planet. He just can't believe what he's hearing, but he's just warming up. He's about to play the race card.
African Americans were all but invisible on the Andy Griffith Show.
There were very few speaking parts.
One.
Okay, Opie, take over quarterback position. Okay, let's go.
If you watch closely in the crowd scenes, I think Andy and others on the show pushed to make sure that there were people of color in the crowds. But you have to look closely.
He's totally ambushing this guy with these questions about race out of left field. But that was the idea he had when he preconceived this story back in the safety of the Beltway, the swamp where he lives. Next.
Let me flip it back on you. I know you're doing this,
Sure.
but what do you see?
What you're saying is true of certain people. If you were black in the 60s, things were not all that good for you.
True.
If you were a Vietnam vet coming back,
Spit on and hated.
things were not all that good for you.
He's ripping on Andy Griffith because, well, it didn't tell the entire story of America like every sitcom on CBS in the 60s was supposed to do that somehow. The media, I believe, have a duty to investigate their observations, their hunches. Instead, he's ridiculing them indirectly, but it's there. And the accents, the Southern accents, people in Northeast newsrooms, they do laugh at those accents, and they look down on these people. These people are smart, though, and they know what's happening, and they start to give it right back to them.
I won't be offended. I've been a journalist all my life. When President Trump talked about the press being the enemy of the people.
They are. And I love President Trump. I love that man. I do.
They did not hide their political views. But again, they're worried about how this is going to look, how it's going to be edited, how it will ultimately turn out. And they spoke, how do they put it now? Their truth.
I just hope when this airs, it won't show Southerners as a bunch of dumb idiots like so many parts of the country do. We have a lot of love in our hearts. We love our country. We love our fellow man. And if the rest of the country felt like that, it would be a better place.
Mr. Koppel, can I say something?
Sure.
This conversation about politics and division is what people come here to get away from. We don't care what color you are. We don't even care what your politics are. We just want to be good neighbors and treat everybody alike. And that's why they're coming here.
I love it. You know, Ted Koppel has interviewed kings and presidents, but he doesn't have the intelligence, class, insight, these two folks on a tour of the Andy Griffith Museum in Mount Airy, North Carolina. They were fabulous, them and all their friends and family. Back to Ted Koppel. What's next for him? Is he going to show up at NASA and start complaining and maybe start hassling the families of dead astronauts? There weren't more black people in the Apollo program, huh? Because that's what he tried to do to the Andy Griffith Show. How about he goes back to ABC News, the network that hired him, and ask, in 1970, why did you hire all of these white people, including me? This is the ridiculous place elite America is in right now. Ted, perhaps you'd be more comfortable with the programming CBS has made so much money off of lately.